Right, now what we did in the fractions part of the course is we did this. I would have gave us a question like 3 over 5 plus a sixth, okay? And what we would have done was we would have taken the bigger denominator. Which one's the bigger denominator? We would have taken the 6 and we would have counted it up until we found a number that 5 could divide into, okay? And what would happen? It'd be 30. Then all of a sudden, once we figured out that it was 30, we'd come back and we'd go, okay, how'd you turn 5 into 30? And if you do it to the top, you must do it to the, you do the bottom, you must do it to the top. And then you'd go and go, how do I turn 6 into 30? 5, so I also have to do the same to the top. Now what happens is, what's 6 multiplied by 3?
18.
And we already know, that 6 multiplied by 5 is? 30. And that's going to be 5, and that's also going to be 30. Now, what happens when you add 18 and 5 together?
22.
All over 30. Okay, believe it or not, this stuff here is going to be exactly the same. Now there's one other thing I need to show you. Okay, before we begin. You've already done what's called equivalent fractions. Now what I mean by equivalent fractions is this. A half equals how many quarters? 2 quarters. Are you happy with that?
Yeah.
Now, what you can do here is this, guys. Do you see when you multiply the top and bottom by 2?
Yeah.
If I multiply the left one, what's the biggest denominator again, the 4 or the 2?
4.
Does 2 divide into 4?
Yes.
So if I multiply the right side by 2, if I multiply the bottom by 2 and the top by 2, what do I get?
2 quarters.
And if we have 2 quarters equals 2 quarters, guess what we're allowed to do? We're allowed to get rid of the bottom. If the bottoms are the same, you're allowed to get rid of them. There is one problem though. The bottoms have to be the same. Once the bottoms are definitely the same, you can get rid of them. Okay, so there isn't actually a problem right now. Alright guys, now we're going to try this. And these are always done the same way. Always done the same way. Let's start off with this one, number 5. X over 2 minus x over 5 equals 3 over 10. The goal is to get the x on its own. To do these questions, the first thing we do is, step 1, find the biggest denominator. Which one's the biggest denominator? 10. Now, this denominator of 10, does all these smaller denominators divide equally into 10?
Yeah.
Does 2 divide equally into 10?
Yeah.
And does 5 divide equally into 10?
Yeah.
Perfect. Let's do what we did last time. How do we turn 2 into 5? Or 2 into 10?
5.
Top and bottom by? 5, okay. How do we turn 5 into 10? And we don't actually have to do anything with this one because it's already over 10. Now what happens next? 5 multiplied by x? 5x. 2 multiplied by x? And what's 5 by 2? Also 5 by 2, 10. Now what you know about both sides now? They have the same. And if they have the same denominator, we can get rid of them. And what do we have left? 5x minus 2x equals? What's 5x minus 2x? 3x equals 3. And where does this 3 go? 3 divided by 3? 1. That's how you do them. Now, let's try a harder one. One that looks a bit more like, whoa, how do I do that? So let's look at number 15 for instance. Okay, so number 15. Okay, let's look at number 15 and let's do the exact same thing we did last time, okay? Now, 15, okay? X plus 4 over 3 minus x plus 2 all over 4 equals 7 over 6. What's step 1 again? Look for the biggest, which is 6. Does 4 divide into 6? Count upwards. 12. Does 4 divide into 12?
Yes.
Does 3 divide into 12?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Here we go. We have to change everything into 12s. How do you change 3 into 12s? Which means we also got to multiply the top by. Now the problem is, see the way there's two numbers? You gotta put the brackets around them. Like a cover. You're multiplying both the x and the 4 by 4. Okay? What about the next one? What goes on the bottom? 3. So wrap this around and put a 3 in front of it. Okay? What about the one to the right? And 2. Now here's the easy part, okay? 4 multiplied by x. 4x plus 16 minus 3x, minus 3 by x, minus 3x, minus 3 by 2, minus 6, no x, and then all that is divided by 12s, isn't it? Because 4 by 3, they're all over 12s, aren't they? Yeah.
But are they not still separated?
It doesn't actually matter if they're separated or not, but look, we can separate them if you want, it won't make a difference. If they're over the same number, actually, for this question, it's actually better to join them. I'll explain why you can join the stuff now. Connor, what's 3/4 plus 2/4?
6.
5/4. And what happens if I join them together? If the bottoms are the same, I'm allowed. Join them. Does it change the answer? No, you got me now? Okay, so what happens is you can join it over one big line and that will make it all over 12. And what about the right side? 14 over. Now what can we do with the 12s? And then we're going to get 4x minus 3x. 16 minus 6 plus 10 equals 14. Where does the 10 go? Minus 10, x equals 4. Okay. What are you thinking thus far? You thinking they're hard? Okay, we'll try one more for the roads. Yes. Oh. The big one. The big fish. Okay. Who's confident they can do them at the moment? Okay, we're going to get Garrett. Garrett, you're going to tell me how to do 19. Okay. So the lads are confident. Okay, go on. Over 2. Always make sure you take down the question right. It's usually a good way again of getting the answer correct. Okay, Garrett, you're up. Step 1.
You have to find the common denominator.
And how'd you do that?
You take the biggest number.
Biggest number, which is? 4.
And you see if the other numbers go into it.
And do the other numbers go into it?
Yeah.
Because they're both 2's, aren't they? So how do we change 2 into 4?
You multiply it by 2.
And then what?
And you multiply the top by 2.
Do we need to do anything else?
Yeah, and only
No, I made a mistake. Brackets.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, no worries.
And then
What about this one here?
you don't need to do anything to that.
Because it's already
It's already.
quarters, fair enough. What about this other one over here?
You have to multiply the top and the bottom by 2.
Top and bottom by 2. Okay, use different colour. Okay, now that that's done. Okay, 2 times 3x.
6x.
And after that?
Minus 2.
Yeah.
And then minus
X all over?
4.
4. Perfect. Other side?
No, sorry, 18.
Yeah.
5.1.
Perfect. Now what do you think about the bottoms?
They're the same, you can cross them off.
Okay. What about this part here?
6x minus x is 5x.
Yeah.
And minus 2, minus 2 equals 18.
Yeah.
So, 18 plus 2.
Yeah.
5x equals 18 plus 2, 5x equals 20.
Yeah.
X equals 20 over 5.
X equals 20 over 5. X equals
4.
4. There's the hardest one in the batch apparently. Alright guys,